Hello everyone, welcome to the Learn Languages HD audio podcast. So we love to have you with us. Make sure to learn something new today and expand your horizons for a little bit. This week we present you with our Merry Christmas special. Holidays are coming up soon, and although this year got extremely complicated with coronavirus pandemic, our happy season will look slightly different from what we are used to and what we hoped for, but let's make sure you make it special to you. You could spend it modestly with your dearest ones, and you could also keep yourself safe and healthy in the same time. So this week we are bringing you everything about Christmas that you should know, including the history of Christmas and how it is celebrated around the world. We will also mention some interesting stories and facts, so I really hope you will enjoy it. Whether you are listening to this episode because you want to learn holiday vocabulary or the story behind Christmas, or you maybe just want to supplement the holiday spirit by sitting with your family around a 21st century radio, I am sure that you would love this show. And we have also promised, if you remember in our very first episode, that this show will bring versatility, fun, education, and utility all together. So let's get started. Although we love this holiday for a variety of reasons, we are often caught clueless about what this means and where it comes from. So it is not a rare case that even if we celebrate it, even if we are religious or non-religious, or if we go to church, or regardless of all those facts, it is not a rare case that people don't actually know what is there behind Christmas, and that's nothing bad, nothing to be ashamed of, and that's why I believe that you're going to learn some useful information. As you know, or you may not know, Christmas is an annual holiday in Christianity that celebrates the birth of Jesus. And the English word that we use, Christmas, actually stands for Mass for Christ or Christmas. So Christ Mass, Christmas. This Mass service is very important to Christians because it speaks that Jesus died for people and that he came back to life. And this service is the only one taking place after sunset. So that's why people started having it at midnight. And that's another reason for its importance. Its great importance for Christian people. There are many other terms for this holiday that preceded the word Christmas and are most probably of German or Anglo-Saxon origin, standing for the feast, which is a large meal. So feast is a large meal, specifically prepared for some sort of a celebration. So we say Christmas in Germanic or Anglo-Saxon origin stands for the feast for winter solstice. And what is actually solstice? It is a moment that happens twice a year when sun is at its farthest from the south or the farthest from the north. Terms in other languages, for example, in Italian we have Natale or Navidad in Spanish, both refer to nativity, while the German word for Christmas translates into hallowed night, and that's a very common phrase that you can hear in Christmas song, in Christmas stories, Christmas movie, like Holy Night or Hallowed Night. And there is one question that people often ask: why do we celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December? Yet, why we celebrate on this exact day is yet unclear. However, there are some theories or hypothetical explanations regarding it. Since the New Testament does not identify a precise date of Jesus' birth, We believe that a date was set by Sextus Julius Africanus, who was the first Christian historian, and it's believed that this date was set in 221, and it became widely accepted later. So that's one of the theories. Another explanation connects the choice of the 25th as the date of Jesus' birth to the Roman holiday that celebrated winter solstice with symbolic of winter rejection and rebirth of spring. Another point of view implies that the 25th dates back to the 21st of March. So 25th of December was not by a random choice. It has its origin in the 21st of March, which is the day of the world's creation. And it is actually afterwards, 4 days after 21st, when the light was created. And it's believed to be the day of Jesus' conception. So that's the day when he was created, let's say, when his mother became pregnant. That's what word conception means in very free language. 9 months later, so 9 months from 25th of March, we have the 25th of December. And according to this theory, that's when Jesus was born. Christmas had also been celebrated on January 6th, when members of early church also celebrated the Epiphany. So what is Epiphany? That's the term that stands for the revelation that Jesus was God's son. And it also represents the baptism of Jesus, the date of his baptism. Jesus' baptism was originally seen as much more important than his birth, as that was when he actually started his mission. That's why many believed that the date of his baptism was more important to celebrate than his actual birthday. The Jewish festival of lights, Hanukkah, starts on the eve of the 25th in 1 month according to Jewish calendars. So that month is approximately the same time as December for us. And Hanukkah celebrates when the Jewish people were able to rededicate and worship in their temple in Jerusalem after, for many years, they were not allowed to practice their religion. Jesus was a Jew, as you may or may not know, so this could be another reason that helped decide on 25th of December as the date for Christmas or the date of Jesus' birth. There are a couple of other terms that we should explain before we continue with our story, let's say. Most of the world uses the Gregorian calendar, which was implemented by Pope Gregory XIII in 1582. Before that, the Julian calendar was used, and it was named after Julius Caesar. The Gregorian calendar was believed to be more accurate than the Roman calendar, since Roman calendar had too many days, according to some. Here we can make some time in the lesson for an interesting explanation regarding English language. I said that Pope Gregory XIII established this calendar, Gregorian calendar, in 1582. So I wanted just to take some time to explain how we actually read years in English language. So you may know it or may not, but when we have a year, that number consists of 4 digits. And how do we read it? We read it 2 by 2. So we take first 2 digits and read it as a separate number, and then we read second 2 digits as a separate number. So 1582, so digits 1, 5, 8, and 2, we would read 1582. So group them in parts of 2 digits, and read those together. Okay, so now it's time to go back to our story. And many Orthodox churches still use this Julian calendar and celebrate Christmas on the 7th of January. So many people around the world actually find this fact surprising. Some people that only know the Western tradition regarding Christmas usually take some time to process the fact that somewhere around the world people celebrate Christmas on a different date. And that's possible. There are some other variations too, but the main two dates would be according Julian calendar and according Gregorian calendar. As I said, in Julian calendar, people celebrate Christmas on 7th of January. And that is actually 25th of December. That's where the 25th of December would be on the Julian calendar. So those two calendars differ by 11 days, if I'm not mistaken. That's why we have that difference, but they represent the same thing. So they have the same story. They share the same story behind the Christmas, but the date is just a little bit different. Armenian Apostolic Church celebrates Christmas on the 6th of January. So we have 6th, 7th, and also 25th of December. And in some parts of the UK, believe it or not, although they celebrate Christmas as most of the world does, they still celebrate Old Christmas in some parts of UK on January 6th. So what if I told you that Christmas wasn't always as big as it is now? So it wasn't always as important and as big holiday as we know it today. For a very long time, Good Friday and Easter were celebrated as major Christian holidays. Roman Catholic churches celebrated the first Christmas Mass at midnight, and Protestant churches have started to increasingly hold Christmas candlelight services on the evening of December 24th. And that's how Christmas has actually evolved. In the first centuries of Christianity, actually the church was opposing this holiday. Yeah, it's a Christian holiday. It's also became one of the major holidays, but still popes and church in general were opposing it. Why? Because according to the church perspective, a celebration of a birthday, especially when it comes to saints and martyrs, is a pagan custom that was not in accordance with the church. So on the contrary, the church's opinion was that these should be honored. When I say these, I mean saints and martyrs. These should be honored on the days of their martyrdom. So that's, in the simple language again, that's when they became important to the church. Here we have another interesting question that you may have thought about before. So why do we celebrate Christmas Eve? Yes, we already explained why we celebrate Christmas, but why is there Christmas Eve? Probably this tradition comes from ancient Jewish reckoning. For Jews in the past, a day began at 6 in the morning and lasted until 6 in the evening the same day. So that's how they got to celebrate Christmas Eve. But another question is, okay, so we have now Christmas Eve and Christmas, but why do we celebrate 26th of December as well? In the past, it was believed that all Christian holidays should last sacred 7 days, but it was reduced to a single day after some time, like to a single day after Christmas. Maybe that's because of industrialism, marketing, I don't know, business world, whatever. But with the time, it was decreased to a single day after Christmas. Bible in general and Christianity, but especially Bible as an literature piece, is all rich and full in symbols. Christmas, as other Christian holidays, actually takes a lot from that culture and from that trend. Now we are going to discuss some symbols that you may have never questioned, but it's good to know and it's good to teach someone and share what you know with others. So why do we use evergreen trees for our Christmas trees? And as you will see later, not everyone does that, but generally in our general culture, evergreen trees symbolize eternal life. So evergreen, they don't lose their leaves. They maybe change color, but They really stand for the life. And these were introduced by Martin Luther to the Reformation Church as a picture of our endless life in Christ by bringing in a tree to the family on Christmas Eve, and the tree should be lit with candles. And candles also have the symbol of its own. They represent the Jesus, and the Jesus as a light of the world. We already mentioned Hallowed Night when we were discussing the origin of the word Christmas, but holy tells the story of the thorns in Jesus' crown. And another interesting symbol is that most of the people decorate their trees red, and we have red ribs on all other Christmas decorations. Why is that? Red is a color of Christmas in a way that speaks of Christ's blood and death. So this one was maybe a little bit more obvious, but still, it's not random. It's not a random choice. Everything regarding Christmas has its own backstory and its own meaning. So when December comes, or better say January comes, a lot of people feel broke. Yeah, a lot of us feel broke. And why do we feel broke? Because we spend a lot of money on Christmas presents. You may ask yourself at that time, why do we gift on Christmas? Well, gifts stand for the gifts to baby Jesus, and each of the gifts speak and represent of a part of his incarnation, like majesty in life, bitterest agony in death, and he is God's perfect gift to us people. Bells are associated with ringing out news, calling for attention, and moreover, these represent, like the bell sound for Christmas represents good news, as Jesus brought only good to people. And all of that speaks of warmth, speaks of joy and security, and that's actually what Christmas means to most of the people worldwide. It means warmth of the family, it means joy, it means pleasure, it means peace. Christmas would not be Christmas without a famous guy, Santa Claus. And Santa Claus is actually a product of Dutch, actually saying Sinterklaas. And in English, we translated that to Saint Nicholas. He became aware of some desperate needs of his congregation and a family having to sell their children into slavery. So one night, as the legend says, one night he came and left money on their doorstep, and it was the gold in stocking. So that's how Saint Nicholas became Santa Claus, and how a bishop from church became Saint Nicholas, and how it all went on. But there is another story behind stocking tradition. It says that a man had 3 daughters, and he was poor, so girls didn't have a dowry. Dowry is, let's explain the word dowry, represents some things that you buy and that a girl buys. Her family buys it for her, and she is supposed to bring that into her marriage. And girls at that time couldn't get married without a dowry. So Saint Nicholas saw that and dropped 3 golden coins into stockings that were randomly drying upon a fireplace. It's December, come on, it has to be all wet, so the girls could get married afterwards. And that's another story behind the stocking tradition. So from the early days of from the early days, like let's say kindergarten, primary school nowadays, we know for Christmas cards. And it all started back in 1844. So here again, we read 2 by 2, 1844. An English artist, and his name was William Dobson. He drew some pictures in England, his hometown, for that season, like for holiday season and generally for winter season. And these have gone extremely popular and found their way across Atlantic. So these reached United States, where in 1846, Cole and Horsley saw the great commercial potential behind this tradition and started the production of something that is now over $1 billion worth industry. Some data shows that over 4 billion of Christmas cards are sent each year only in America, not to mention the rest of the world. So it really turned out to be a great industry and great potential, commercial potential. As Christianity was spreading as a religion, Christmas became part of other traditions. So in many of these countries, Christians don't make even a majority of the population. In many of these countries where Christmas spread. And there are certain countries that count very few Christians actually, but they celebrate Christmas as a cultural holiday. Christmas customs in these societies often resemble Western traditions because they preserve Christianity as a cultural product or a component or Western world, if you want to take it that way. A good example of such a country would be Japan. When it comes to religion, Japanese people are dominantly Shinto or Buddhist, while they widely celebrate Christmas with traditional Christmas trees and lights, Christmas songs, or some of them just as a day free of work, but they really celebrate this holiday, although very few people in Japan are actually Christians and celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday. In Mexico, on the other hand, on days that precede Christmas, there is something that looks like a party, looks like a game, the search of Mary and Joseph for the place to stay. And the children try to break a piñata that is filled with toys and candy, so it turns out to be a fun holiday for children. Christmas is also a summer festival in Brazil, and people celebrate it with picnics, fireworks, other festive activities, as well as church celebrates midnight mass. So this way it looks like a 4th of July with fireworks and everything. In some parts of India, this evergreen tree, as we know it, evergreen Christmas tree, is replaced with mango tree or the bamboo tree or even a banana tree. And the houses are decorated with mango leaves and paper stars. So it definitely looks quite different from what we are used to and what is stereotype of Christmas decoration. And in India, it remains a Christian holiday largely, and they don't give it any special meaning, but they do decorate and kind of symbolize it in a way. In Slavic, Balkan countries, let's say, Christmas Eve morning is very traditional, and that's the day when men go to woods and cut a Yule log, but in these countries, Yule log is actually oak tree. And more people live in the towns nowadays, so people can't actually go to the woods. It's not that convenient as it was in the past, so they can now just buy that special kind of tree that has a special name here called badnjak in these countries, Slavic countries and Balkan countries. If they celebrate Christmas, that kind of Christianity it follows Julian calendars, so people there spend their Christmas and celebrate their Christmas on 7th of January. So on the Christmas Eve morning, men go to the woods and cut that type of Yule log by themselves, which has a very special meaning. And although I told you many people live in the cities nowadays, but some of them still preserve this kind of tradition and try to go with their families to the woods. So let's now talk over a couple of surprising facts regarding Christmas. And let's go to the fact number 1. Around 2 billion people celebrate Christmas around the world. So this definitely sounds like a lot, but from this number we can grasp the dimensions of this holiday. Fact number 2. first Christmas tree decorations were actually different types of food. So now we do have shiny and sparkly kinds of plastic or some sort of wooden decorations. But back then, people used apples, nuts, dates, what they had to decorate those trees. And maybe that's where the culture of hanging candies on the Christmas tree comes from. Fact number 3, the idea of Santa Claus, as we think about him, was created by Washington Irving. So it's nothing that stands in Bible or somewhere else, but it was created much, much later by Washington Irving. Fact number 4, Christmas jingles were actually composed for Thanksgiving rather than Christmas. So we all associate Christmas with Christmas jingles, but it's important to say that it was not meant for this holiday at all. Fact number 5, present giving, here we are again, to those who can't or won't repay you in the name of the Christ Spirit is a great action by the culture. So people nowadays recommend this type of gift giving. We do culturally tend to give presents to the dearest people to us and to our closest relatives and significant people in our lives. But the culture suggests that we should be giving presents and giving something. It doesn't even have to be materialistic, to those people who can't or who won't repay you for any reason. And the next fact, a legend says that couples that kiss under the mistletoe have their relationship sparked with peace and love. So a lot of people actually love this tradition a lot. Another very important fact to mention is the Christmas song. So when we think about Christmas, aside from jingles and Christmas tree or Santa Claus, we all tend to think nowadays about All I Want for Christmas Is You from Mariah Carey. But what if I told you that that song, although our first idea of Christmas, it reminds us of Christmas, is not the actual Christmas song. So there is only one real Christmas song, as people say it, and that is Joy to the World. So what makes this song so special is that it actually is a repetition of God's promises, and that it tells the value. It speaks of values that we should live by and that we should be breathing by our whole beings all the year, not just on Christmas Day. And that's why Joy to the World really should be more common, and we should know, and we should be reminding ourselves of this song a couple of times a year. So thank you for being with Learn Languages HD Audio. As we said in the beginning, please make sure to learn something new and expand your horizons today. But in the spirit of Christmas, please don't forget to share what you know. Be good, stay safe, think good, do good things for other people, and we are sure that you're going to have a happy and successful life. Thank you for joining us, and we really hope to meet you in the next episode. Bye-bye.